That's the deepest conference in the DC metro area. So it's not like they're going to be intimidated or feel like they don't belong going up against that size and the pedigree of offers that Calvary brings.
And speaking of the WCAC, I mean, they've had players. The Emmanuel Okitoondu transferred to Oak Hill this year. Very, very prolific academy to go play basketball at. We've seen Kevin Durant play there before. Rehard Vavers was a senior last year, named to the All-WCAC second team, plays in Latvia right now, but would be playing at Kupinak University next year.
And Calvary wins the tip as we get things started. They're going to throw it inside to number 22, Jacob Warren, unable to corral the entry pass. And with that, Carroll starts their first possessions. Going to be number 12, Landry Barbour, bringing them up and getting them started in the offense. Number 2 pulls up from 3, and he buries that. Franklin Aisi Aton.
That's another player to watch, averaging 21 points a game for Carroll this year, so he's obviously the engine of their offense.
Absolutely. Looking at more of a scoring point guard than your traditional set everybody up type. And they get the pick, kicks it back up. Number 2, Curry, starting the offense for Calvary. They do a little post game, and it's going to be good. Number 23 with the finish, and he's going to head to the line.
And that's the size you were talking about. They have the 2 big men. That was Jacob Warren who got the finish and the foul there, but they also have Ethan Lathan all in the paint. Those 2 will be dominating down low, looking to be heads and shoulders above everyone on the Carroll team.
Absolutely. And we're going to see if he can convert the and one opportunity. And we're tied up 3-3 with less than a minute gone in the first quarter. Parham's going to start the offense for the Lions this time around, guarded by 22. Correction, Witherspoon's the one starting the offense for the Lions. Gets the ball back up top, guarded by Ethan. And it's going to be off for Curry, trying to unleash another deep ball. Number 3, Ware, gets it on the edge, kicks it back up to number 5, Nate Nowden, who's going to reset the offense here. Eduardo gets a screen before he swings it, and they look to get it back into Warren. And that's going to be a turnover, Carroll ball. And early on, we can see that Calvary Christian is going to make an emphasis of using that size advantage that they have.
Similar to what Zion Prep should have done last game. They went at it in the third quarter, and it worked. They stopped going to it, started forcing shots. They ended up losing that game in a landslide.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you got to understand what team you are and what works for you and stick to it. I know a lot of kids and a lot of young players want to be Steph Curry, but not everybody is Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. You got to understand that sometimes you just need to feed the big fellas and let them eat.
You really do, and the foul there, this game is shaping up to be very physical. A lot of whistles in the first minute or so.
Curry pulls up, and it's going to rim out. Rebound brought down by number 2, Franklin Asi Ito. And Nate Nowden throws it in, and there's going to be a foul on the floor. I believe that's going to be against number 12, Landry Barbour. As we've got the replay, he was trying to get it in to Warren, the big man. Curry gets the ball up at the top, swings it over to the wing, back to Curry. He calls his own number, and it's going to be off. Rebound brought by Aisi Oto, and he's going to push the tempo. And it looked like he had an assist, but a phenomenal block. I believe that is number 2, Curry, as he ends it. And he's unable to get the assist, but number 5, Carl Scheferitan, able to get the putback, and it's going to be a 2-point lead for the Eagles. Great finish by Franklin.
Tough bucket.
Yeah, going up, not afraid from the contact.
Just showing his strength. I mean, we saw him dish out a no-look pass on the possession before, just showing he can do it all. He shot a three-pointer, made it. He's driven in, finished through contact, passed it. He can do it all.
And once again, we see Calvary Christian trying to get it back to Warren in the low post. Looks like that's going to be another foul. And now we've got to start wondering, is our fouls going to play a part in this? Because we're already pretty early on. Got a substitution, 22 going to be taking a seat. Avery Johnson. 21, Jerome Sims III is in for him. And with the miscommunication, it's going to be a Carroll ball. And early on, it seems like both teams are still trying to get themselves into the flow of the game. Seems to be a handful of unforced errors, things you wouldn't expect happening from teams of these caliber.
And if Carroll wants to win this game, they're going to have to capitalize off every opportunity they get.
And the drive is going to hit the backboard and then come crashing down. Curry brings the ball up for Calvary. Trying to make use of the screen. Feeds number 3, who's just too strong. That was Justin Ware. And now we've got, we got Franklin Aisi-Oto, and he gives Carroll their first lead of the evening.
And it looks like he's going to do everything if they want to win.
Oh, absolutely. And we're seeing the guards actually dominating a lot of the play and getting all the scoring done.
Tough finish.
And just like I predicted, Curry calls his own number, gets a screen, able to roll up the finger roll. That was interesting shot selection by Parham early in the shot clock. Not sure he needed to settle for that. And Curry is off on his own. Correction, it was Witherspoon with the shot last time around for the Lions. And Franklin Aisi-Oto buries a deep 3, and it's going to be 10-7 lead for the Carroll Lions over Calvary Christian
Aisi-Oto, all 10 points for Carroll.
Again, we see the length and the size advantage playing a part into how they're drawing things up. Beautiful alley-oop.
Take another look there.
Yeah, and it's going to be an and one three-part opportunity, so we're going to see if we're going to tie this up again.
And that's Carl Sharonfan, and he's the guy who's going to play at Memphis. He's 4-star, number 9 ranked player in Florida, averaging 18 points, shooting 50%. All of his stats, points, rebounds, assists, all up from last year, showing improvement from his junior to senior season. He's a big part of the success that this team has had. And
we just got to see a little bit of his athleticism on that. You can tell that he's got the potential to be a lockdown wing defender at the next level if the right system gets to him and coaches him up. So Carroll trying to get something going on offense here. Franklin Aisi-Oto finds number 25 on the inside, and he's going to be rejected. I believe that's 22 Eaton with the block.
Huge block there, almost snatch blocked it.
Absolutely, and that's the type of thing that swings momentum. Calvary moving the ball around well, something we've seen them do early and often. And 25, Emmanuel Kango brings down the board for the Lions. That's a deep 3, and Franklin Aisi-Oto is on fire.
He's feeling himself tonight, and if you're a Calvary Christian fan, you are shivering your timbers right now. He has pulled up twice with confidence from a step in from the logo and a steal there.
Oh, and that is a great play by Sheriffet to get the block, and let's see what he can make happen. Swings it over. Eduardo going up, and he's going to be rejected. Emmanuel Kango saying, if you can do it, I can do it too.
Both teams showing their athleticism, speed, skill, everything.
Eaton gets the loose ball, and it's going to be a foul on Kango trying to poke that loose.
Take another look at that block. Aisi-Oto all the way. Sharon Fant just does not give up on the play blocks it off the backboard, saves his team a possession late in this first quarter.
If we were playing 2K, I believe that would be the chase down badge he used right there.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
And right now we're going to have
Fixing the clock, you assume that they're checking, taking this long, or ball placement as they were supposed to. Pass it in right.
Oh, so I believe it looks like they called a flagrant.
Or a technical, maybe.
One of the two, yeah, but we're going to see. Oof. And Shafarat unable to hit the first one.
Not a guy who misses from the free throw line, shooting 91% on the season. From the line, misses both of them.
Wow, so that might be the one time all year he doesn't hit either of them.
And not a guy who misses, so. Show a big play blocking the shot, but hitting those easy free throws, especially when there's no one around you, it's not what he wants to see.
Especially in the game where points have been so hard to come by.
Oh, yeah.
Great feed on the inside, but even better defense by number 25, Emmanuel Kanga. And he shows off a little point guard skills right there, finding Franklin Aisi Eton for the finish, and it's going to be a 5-point lead for the Carroll Lions. Little bit of an upset in the making we might have here.
Yeah, again, who knows at this rate? We've seen so many teams play.
And a little bit short, Shafarat calling his own number. And we got Curry, kicks it to Shafarat from deep, and he redeems himself. Nothing but net on that tree ball.
He's the wing who can shoot.
And Sean Abuvi called his own number, not going to hit the mark. And I believe it was Parham who put up the second attempt, going to come off. And Curry calling his own number, and we are tied up at 15 with less than 20 seconds left in the first quarter.
A nice, tough fadeaway bucket there from Jalen Curry. Showing himself looking like Stephen Curry out there with that nifty two-point shot.
He's definitely good at elevating and creating some of his own space. Great pass, and it's a three. Gabriel Jones buries it. Number 2, Franklin Aisi Eto with the assist, and with that, the Lions take a 3-point lead, 18-15 here at the end of the first quarter. We're looking at that again, just a beautiful cross-court pass.
Every single player here has shown their ability to do everything.
And we would like to thank one of our sponsors, T47. The MLK Classic at the St. James is sponsored by T47 International, federal, state, and local government's first call and next call for professional support services. So what are your takeaways from the first quarter?
If Carroll wants to win this game, and if they keep going, you're going to have to see a massive game from Franklin Aisi Eto. He's been involved in what seems like every single offensive point. As we take a look there, he finished one right under the basket. But if he's not able to go a full 4 quarters on this court, they have no shot because everything running through him.
While I do understand your concerns, I wouldn't say that quite yet because of the work number 25, Emmanuel Kanga, has done early on, basically making the size advantage a non-factor. We saw them try to get into the low post early and often, Calvary Christian, only able to get one basket off of all of that.
They got to keep going to it, though. They saw it work when they went to it. They either got to the line for 2 free throws or they made a basket. Keep doing it. Go to your bread and butter.
All right, and we are back here with second quarter action. Landry Babor, the inbounder. Number 2, Franklin Aisi Eto, bringing the ball up. Picked up by 5, Carl Sherifant.
Aisi Eto got away with what seemed to be a travel there, jumping a bit.
And we got Witherspoon at the top. He gets a screen. probing, and it's going to be intercepted. Number 3, Eduardo, got his hands on it, and it's going to be finished by Curry. 1-point game.
Showing off the transition game. Quick in transition are the Eagles. Take another look there. Pass intercepted, jumped on by number 22, Ethan Lathan. Passes up to Jalen Curry, and the rest he just does himself.
And we've got a timeout on the floor after what I believe was a charge call on the floor. So, what can you tell me about What the Chef?
Their food has been phenomenal. I've been here one day. I've been fortunate enough to be here on Dr. Martin Luther King Day this Monday in January. And man, their food has been amazing. I've been able to treat myself more than a couple times throughout the day here.
Yeah, special thanks to What the Chef and their collection of culinary experts for their support of the MLK Classic here at the St. James in beautiful Alexandria, Virginia, right outside of our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And we are back on the floor here after the timeout. And we've got Curry bringing up the ball for the Eagles. Looks like Witherspoon will be picking him up. Great off-ball screen to get Sherifant the look, not able to get it to fall. And it's going to be another trip to the line for Franklin Naisi Eto, continuing to push the pace. This time able to draw the foul going up. Didn't convert the shot, but he still gets 2.
He's quick, strong, athletic. He can do absolutely everything. And the reason that they are leading 20-17 in this game.
That's right. He has been the heart of this Lion pride so far. So I believe they're going to say that that basket counts. I'm not quite sure why he only shot 1 free throw. Eduardo from the corner. It's going to be off. Rebound brought in by Emmanuel Kanga. And it looks like the big man just went a little too fast for his body to keep up with right there. And that's going to be a turnover on the fast break.
He's a bit in disbelief, but Emmanuel Kanga already showing some point guard skills earlier with a nice dish to Aisi Eto. And he can do both sides of the ball. I mean, you look at his wingspan. He's already tall, but his wingspan is absolutely ginormous. His arms just dangle all the way down to his knees.
And we've seen how he uses that on both ends, especially defensive as a rim protector and cleaning up on the glass.
Exactly. Right after that, Sharon Fat block off the backboard. Calvary Christian was right down the other way, but he was there to come up with a big block. And he's going to have to play big in the paint, as Calvary Christian is generally a taller team than this Carroll team.
Yeah. And now we've got number 2, Jalen Curry, inbounding from under the basket. Finds Carl Sherifant. He's going to start the offense. Swings it over to Jacob Warren. And it's going to go back to Curry. Gives himself some space, pulls his number, and hits the jumper from about the free throw line.
Silky jumper there, left-handed. Guard just snatches it back.
Phenomenal pass, just unable to convert that. Number 21, Jerome Sims, off on the corner 3. And we've got number 1, Sean Abuva, picking up the ball for the first time. They try to feed number 22, Lathan, inside. Going to be turned over. And that is going to lead to Witherspoon getting fouled on the shot. He will shoot 2. 20-19 lead with 5:44 left in the half for the Archbishop Carroll Lions over the Calvary Christian Eagles.
Just saw another look at that foul that he drew. Good patience from Witherspoon under the basket. Pump fake, gets Sharon Fant in the air. He's coming down, he goes up, draws the foul, and hits his first free throw.
And we're going to see Parham come in for Sherifant, finally catching a breather after playing the majority of this first half.
And this Calvary Christian team, I mean, they've had in recent years some good players. You look at last year, Tyler Hendricks, senior guard, went to UCF where he plays now. They also had a junior guard, Marvel Allen, who transferred to Montverde Academy. So, and he has offers from LSU, Clemson, Alabama, Georgetown, to name a few.
And it's tough already when you lose D1 talent because of graduation. It's a whole nother thing to try and rebuild the program when you've got somebody you were counting on for having at least another year or two around transfer out to one of these powerhouse programs. And they're actually going to see him in a couple of games from what you were telling me.
On the 23rd, of January, they're going to be facing Montverde, so they have a tough schedule ahead, but nothing new for this Eagles team.
Lathan hits the first of his free throws. It looks like the Eagles are in the balance, so they'll be shooting the rest of the half.
Referee giving a talking to Jalen Curry and number 22, Avery Johnson of Carroll.
And he goes 100% for that trip to the line. And something we're seeing now is what I think is a full court trap being implemented by Calvary Christian. They did need to do something to force the Carroll guards to think a little bit more and not move as much as they've been doing. Throwing it in, big guys trying to get it, but they can't keep the ball up high. Able to save it. Sean able to get it at the top of the key and reset everything. Right now, Curry is looking to get the offense into a set.
Barking at his teammates to move. Lack of movement right now for Calvary Christian. And the ball
Warren gets the give and go, and he's going to head back to the line. And like you were talking about earlier, they have had success not always getting the basket, but consistently getting to the line whenever they give the big man the ball.
Looks like they're actually going to call a charge there. So defender getting his feet set, drawing the charge, and we've seen that a lot today. We've seen way more charge calls than blocking calls. So,
well, hey, ties go to the offensive player, so that's not a huge surprise.
And players are just putting their body on the line, anything to get a win.
And with that mishandled pass, it is going to be Carroll's ball from the side. Number 14 is inbounding. Actually, Landry Barbour, number 12, is the inbounder. Witherspoon bringing the ball up, and he's going to be picked up. Like I said, they're implementing a full court trap.
Good block there.
Yes. Witherspoon gets the ball up. He gets a screen. And the entry pass mishandled, or, it was just going into a forest of arms, so.
And good ball handling there as we take another look, and it was a good look and dish from the sophomore guard, Witherspoon. Just put the ball on a string right through a couple defenders. Ball, too much mustard on it, though, bounces off his intended target and in the hands of a Calvary Christian player.
And Curry's going to be bringing the ball up. 4:20 and counting left in the first half, tied up at 21. Picked up by Witherspoon. Sherifant swings it over to Curry, gives it over to Sean, back to Sherifant, who gets double-teamed immediately. Sean thought he had somebody. As you can see, there was a little bit of a miscommunication, and it's going to be Carroll ball. And things have started to slow down for the Lions with the implementation of this full court trap. Reminds me of the one we used to run in high school at my team.
And, the Eagles.
And number 12, Landry Barbour, able to make the most of that. It looked like a bit of a broken possession, but able to swing the ball around, find the open guy. The one downside of implementing any type of trap, there's always going to be an open man. You're just betting they can't see him before you do.
The Eagles have to score on this possession. A number of miscommunications in this first half, empty possessions. They're in a game that they probably did not expect to be behind in late in this first half.
See them working it inside, just too strong, but 22, Ethan Lathan able to put it back up in. But as we see, one of the downsides to the full court trap, Witherspoon is off the mark on the shot, but it's going to stay Carroll ball. Ref saying that it was deflected.
Take another look here. We'll see if it goes off him last. It does look like it rolled off his right knee. He doesn't believe it. Referee was there. He had the best angle.
Active hands. You got to give it up. Carroll has been doing what they can to make it uncomfortable for Calvary Christian. Gabriel Jones starts the offense, kicks it over to Witherspoon. And it's going to go into Aisi Eton. Calls his own number off the mark.
Good-looking
Warren
shot. He had the space.
Yes, he did. A little bit of Kobe action to create his own space. And Curry calls his own number and buries it. Going to be a 1-point lead now for the Eagles. Great feed by Franklin Aisi Eton, making a great case for him to be the player of the game. And Carroll retakes the lead in this back-and-forth contest.
And the future Memphis forward almost got his hand on there. Carl Scherenfant nearly swatting a second one off the glass.
Yeah, and Warren just getting a little too physical, trying to establish his spot. Gives Carroll the ball. As you see, he did push off a little bit.
Extends the arm. Maybe a little bit of a sell there from Aisi Eto, but you do what you got to do to get the ball back in.
Oh, absolutely. And they are going a little more conservative, still giving full court pressure, but it looks like it's more of a zone defense than a trap.
Beautiful look.
Absolutely. And that is unfortunate, as 3 Calvary Christian teammates were unable to corral that rebound. Going to stay with Carroll at this end.
And Aisi Eto, senior, going to be a huge hole they're going to have to fill next year, as you see there, dishing it cross-court passes, finishing at the basket, 3 points, everything.
And the young man headed to Memphis, Carl Scherenfant, again showing off that athleticism, getting up high to reject the pass.
And they're going to have the same problem at Calvary Christian once he's gone.
Finds Franklin Aisi Eto, and they're trying to send him a double team. Get the ball out of his hands a little bit, and they're going to call a travel on Witherspoon. Got to remember what you establish as your pivot foot.
See here.
Yeah, just a little bit of a
drags
wiggle.
Drags that pivot foot, and the referee standing right in front of you. Can't do that right in front of the referee. Maybe on the other side of the court, but right in front of him, he's going to call that every single day.
Curry gives it back to Scherenfant, who gives it back to Curry.
That's a matchup to watch. Scherenfant is getting marked by Aisi Eto sometimes, but it looks like Carroll's running that 2-3 zone, so the Eagles are going to have to use the wings to their advantage.
As you see, number 2 Curry, again, calling his own number. He's been doing what he can to keep them in this game, with the big man just being neutralized by the 2-3 zone. Scherenfant with the long rebound. They're running the break, and he gets it and has a chance for the 3-point play. Whenever they've been able to get out in transition, as we're going to see here on the replay, good things have been happening for the Eagles.
The quicker, more athletic team that they are, it makes sense that they're able to go and take advantage of transition game, but they're not going to get that every day because Carroll's hitting their shots tonight in the MLK St. James, or the St. James MLK Classic.
And the Memphis commit is unsuccessful.
He's 0 for 3 from the line tonight.
Yeah.
And a guy, again, who's 91% on the season. It's not usual for him to miss 1, let alone 3.
Yeah, and great play by John Rowland, number 21, not only to get the offensive board, but to save the possession, bouncing it off a Carroll defender. unable to finish the drive when they called his number. Witherspoon bringing up the ball, and they're swinging it to the corner, and it's going to be 3. Gabriel Jones hits another 3, and we're tied up at 29 with less than a minute left in the first half.
Archbishop Carroll loves those corners. Almost every three-pointer they've hit has come from either of the corners.
And Avery Johnson playing like it's 1992 with that hand check. You cannot do it like that anymore.
And the referee, or the officiating crew, was calling that all the time last game, so expect a lot of hand-checking calls to be called. You get away with it at times, but if, again, the officiating crew is looking at it and they're trying to catch you doing that, they're gonna catch you more often than not.
Unable to hit the first of a 1-and-1 for Curry. And now they're going back to a full court trap. And they're taking advantage of the fact that Franklin Naisi Eto is grabbing a little breather, trying to force these less experienced guards to make some quick decisions.
And with the shot clock off, you expect Sharon Fant to take a look there, just to hold it until the final shot.
Absolutely. Oof. He was on the mark just too hard, and they are going to, and you see Sheriff Fant's presence even when he's not able to get it. Just the threat of him gets the ball to go off a little hard, and we are going to head to halftime, tied up 22-22. I am Josh Ilori here with Luca Dalasta, and here from the St. James MLK Classic. We will be back momentarily with second half action. How do I pronounce the last name again? Because I butchered it there.
You got it right the second time.
Go last. And we are back here for the second half at the final game of the 2023 the St. James MLK Classic. I'm Josh Elori, joined by Luca Dalestat. And we're about to get ready with second half action. Real quick, Luca, what are your takeaways from the first half?
I mean, for Carroll, it's been everything Franklin Aisieto. 17 points, 2 assists as we were talking during the break. Should have been more, a couple of good dishes here and there that just were not finished. But he has been on fire, 7 for 14, just everything, taking a hard fall there.
Yeah, and like you said, Witherspoon finds him on the cut, feeds him, and he's going to head to the line, probably adding 2 more to that game high already.
Before Calvary Christian, I mean, Jalen Curry has been pretty solid, shooting 60% from the field, 12 points, 3 assists, only 1 turnover, 2 steals, so he's been doing it on both sides of the ball. But he's shown some frustration as well with his team offensively. Calvary Christian still, they're not where they want to be, tied with Carroll. They're a team that they feel are better than Carroll, and they need a play like that in the second half if they want to walk out with a W.
The biggest thing is you would expect them to try to assert the size more. We saw that happen with a decent amount of success early on, but as the game started to go more towards Carroll's pace, it was more of the guards picking up the slack, and the big guys just weren't imposing their will the way you want them to.
Exactly, and that's kind of what we saw with Mount Zion Prep against Bishop O'Connell in the last game. Is they just shied away from their bread and butter going down in the paint, and when you do that.
And we have cooler heads prevailing right there. I got to give it up to number 23, Jacob Warren, just, not letting you do that. And we got a technical foul on the floor. We're going to wait a moment while the referees discuss what the final verdict on that is.
Well, if that's a technical foul, that'll be the second one against Carroll. I mean, they got a team technical foul in the first half when we were all confused on what was going on. But this one looks like they might get a technical against number 22, Avery Johnson. And it will be, instead of Sharon Finn at the line, it will be Jalen Curry, who has been more consistent at the line than Sharon.
Something we talked about as one of the surprises of the first half. Sherifant, a 90+% shooter from the foul line, 0 for 3 so far.
Yeah, so they have to shoot and they have to hit from the free throw line. I mean, you go back all the way to that Legacy School of Sports and Sciences earlier where they lost to Jackson Reed on a buzzer beater. They were missing their free throws towards the end of the game, and it ended up giving Jackson Reed the opportunity to have that buzzer beater for the win.
Couldn't agree with you more, my friend. All right, and it's going to stay with Calvary Christian. And with the potential to be a 4 or 5 point swing here, especially in a game where everything's been so tight, you can't have these unforced errors.
Every possession has to be full, and you're tied at the half. You know it's going to be a nitty-gritty game all the way to the final buzzer. You have to hit, and you have to convert on every possession possible.
Curry operating. He's going to drive, kicks it out, number 3, and they try to get it into Ethan Lathan, able to chase down the pass. And it's going to be off the front of the rim, and we're still waiting, and finally Ethan Lathan able to get it off, followed up his own miss, 2 offensive boards on that possession. And for all that we've been saying about how we want to see Calvary's bigs do more, I have to give it up. Lathan already has 7 rebounds in the game.
It's on possessions like that as we take another look where it's just constantly 1, 2, and it gets 2 rebounds there, finally finishes it. Got to finish on the first time, not risk getting blocked, or, I mean, you could try to draw a foul, but you may as well just finish when you have the opportunity.
Aisi Eton gets the ball back as he looks to start the Lions offense. Gets a screen, and
they're going to call a foul.
I believe that's on Eduardo, fighting a little too hard through that screen.
Yeah, that's going to be against Derek Edward. And I guess he pushed, trying to go through that screen. We've seen that also a couple times today.
Yeah, and with the game being so close, we're starting to see the teams get a little too familiar with each other.
Exactly.
Aisi Eto hands it off to Witherspoon.
Mismatch for Witherspoon. The guard has the center on him. I don't know. Should take advantage. Isolated.
Oof. And a good save by Jones.
Looks like they actually might.
And that's going to come up well short for Aisi Eto.
Looking
Been
for a
calling his
foul.
own number a lot. Sherifant swings it over to Edward, who's unable to hit the basket, and we got another foul. And like we mentioned earlier, we're going to have to keep an eye on these fouls because it's been happening early and often in the second half.
Foul must have been on number 23, Jacob Warren, because initially it looked like they were going to give it to Ethan Lathan, but after watching that replay, didn't look like he, as they motioned to push in the back, didn't look like he pushed anyone.
And we're going to have a timeout on the floor as Coach Powell just was like, hey, let's keep him from a terrible situation.
We couldn't get up. He was on the ground. Getting up, he would have been called for a travel. So calling the timeout, the right thing to do. You're down by 2. You want to slow the pace of the game. Get it back to your pace, because getting it in the pace of Calvary Christian, the quick transition basketball, will just make this game start to slowly run away from Archbishop Carroll, and that's not what they want.
Not at all. Now, real quick, the MLK Classic is sponsored by NFP. Discover how NFP can provide you with innovative insurance and benefits coverage you are looking for at nfp.com.
So far, I mean, you can't ask for a better game to close out a phenomenal tournament. I mean, earlier we saw Montverde girls play against Sidwell Friends girls in highly anticipated matchup.
We're talking about what's going to go down as probably one of the best 10 to 15 girls basketball games in the entire season throughout the country right there.
There were 2 top 5 teams going at it. Sidwell Friends played a perfect game and just had Montverde's number, came away with a win there, but every game today has been good.
And again, they're going back to the full court press, and you see the refs reacting to how things were getting chippy, and they're calling things very tight, maintaining control of the game. And it looks like number 22, Lathan, has picked up another foul. 5:43 left in the third quarter. Calvary Christian leading 33-31 over the Archbishop Carroll Lions. Carroll inbounds it to Witherspoon. It's picked up immediately. Eitan Aisi kicks it out to Gabriel Jones, who's too strong off the back of the iron.
Nice
And
fake.
Curry with the great touch off the glass. And we're seeing Carroll trying to push the pace a little bit.
On that possession, Curry absolutely froze a defender with his hesitation.
And Franklin Aisi Eto buries another 3. He's hit at least 3 this evening.
He was at 17 and a half. I believe those are his first points of this second half, so he's up to 20. Again, averaging 21. Looks like he's going to get well over that mark here tonight.
I believe he hit the free throws earlier in the half, so that is his first field goal of the second half. And we've got Sherifant getting the ball back on the give and go. Operating the high post, kicks it out. They're swinging the ball around. Number 2, Curry, has it on the wing, calls his own number, and he's going to get a lot of contact. We see Gabriel Jones arguing that it was a kick out. We'll see if we can get a replay to look at that.
Just inside.
Wow, that is that definitely was an interest in motion. I guess that would be a Draymond Green reaction with the legs going all over the place.
Just one step inside of the three-point arc meant he's not going to go to the line for 3. Instead, he's just going to go for 2. but any points you take.
Again, we are talking about a highly contested defensive battle right here. Reminds me of the old school Big East, back when guys like Pitt and Syracuse were still in that conference.
Almost a violation down low on the left side between Emmanuel Kanga and
And
Ethan
a
Lathan.
great interception. Curry gets it, and we're starting to see a little bit of a gap. I think this might be the biggest lead we've had so far today, 5 points. And just when I say that, Landry Barbour has a 3 to close it back to 2 in this highly contested.
And Carroll's starting to find the holes in that 2-3 zone on the wings, getting open looks after open look. And they're starting to hit their threes, not going as well for Calvary Christian as they would like. And if they keep hitting their threes, they're going to have to switch up that 2-3 zone.
And we see them trying to work it on inside again. Lathan just unable to control that pass. Great drive by number 2 Curry. And again, Emmanuel Kanga doing great things. And that leads to the transition bucket by Barbour. Great when defense leads to offense. And we're tied up with 3:40 and counting in the third. Sean A. takes it himself and shows great control for the lanky forward.
Nice move there, Euro step, weaving defenders. And
Woo.
oh my goodness.
Ethan Lathan just
Sent that back all the way to Florida where Calvary Christian came from. Oh my goodness.
going to look back at it. He was the first man back on defense, got himself in perfect position, and you got to give it up to number 5 Sherifant, because if it wasn't for his initial defense, there would not have been the block. Carroll getting back in their offense. Barbour kicks it to Witherspoon. And they're going to call a block on the drive. They're going to take it out from the side.
3:20 on the clock. Only up by 2. Fouling, not what you want. In Calvary Christian already 5
Deep
fouls.
3, and that's going to be off. We saw him hit a couple of those earlier. That was number 2, Franklin Aisi Eton. Sean A. bringing the ball up, kicks it over to Carl Schaferent. Back to Sean A. He calls his own number, just going to be short. 21, John Rowland with the offensive board. So, if I remember correctly, Luca, you are part of the QO broadcast team, correct?
Yeah, at my high school, I do broadcasting there. Thank you to Adam Gotkin, who was on the calls with Chad Ricardo all this weekend and all through today, except for this game. And got to meet Chad over the football season. Started to build a relationship with him, and what a nice guy he is. Absolutely. Just loves to chat with everyone anytime he can. And so them two together gave me this opportunity here today, and I've had a blast in the one day of this tournament.
I can only imagine. I'm guessing it's your first time at one of these big basketball events.
Yeah.
Something you will get used to very soon covering DMV high school basketball, because as good as the football is, and you know that going to QA, the defending Maryland State champions, it's even better with basketball.
And DMV just produces basketball players left and right, but when you get to go to a tournament like this and you see teams from around the country, and they're the top teams from around the country on both sides, again, boys and girls, like you see Montverde come up from Florida, you see IMG Academy come up from Florida, Calvary Christian, you see all these teams.
And Sean A. with the drive as he is doing his best to keep this Eagles lead.
Another block.
Now, that's going to be a foul call, but you know what? I still love the energy from Lathan. He's a big man. He's not going to give you anything easy on the inside.
He's got to be careful. I mean, foul trouble. He's already had 2 fouls this quarter. Yeah, it's 0 in the first half, so only 2.
Barbour chipping into that lead, hitting 1. It's now a 3-point lead. and he goes 2 for 2, and now it's going to be a 2-point game with 2:09 left in the third quarter.
And Carroll not getting to the free throw line in that first half the amount of times they would like to. Only had one trip, went 1 for 2 from the line. And already you've been to the line 3 times at least in this third quarter.
Seeing the Eagles work it around the outside. Sean A. coming alive here in the second half, showing a bit of a mix, grab bag of skills, able to play big and little, and then again another block for 22. And I love the intensity that Calvary Christian is playing with right now. They're going to say the ball went off of Carl Schafferent.
Take another look at this finish. Just up and under, taking the contact, says, I don't care, and finishes the bucket.
Phenomenal body control. How old is that young man, number 1, Sean A.?
Listen, only as a sophomore, so very, very young player. Going to be here for this year and the next 2 years after this. A big player.
And I want to say, we talked about Kanga showing off some guard skills earlier. Sean has some legitimate guard skills there as a distributor and also taking it to the hole himself.
And this Calvary Christian team, looking at it, 4 of their 5 starting 5 are seniors. The only one, Ethan Lathan, who's also having a massive game here tonight, especially defensively. You're talking about 3 blocks this quarter. So they're going to have a very different looking team next year. And we'll see. Obviously, Ethan Lathan going to be a big part of that, and Sean Abeyev.
Emmanuel Kanga with the steal, but unable to finish it. Ooh, Sean getting a little fancy with it, but he's going to be stripped by Aisi Eton. Oh, that was a hard screen freeze, Aisi Eton. And it's back to a 2-point game with less than a minute here in the third quarter.
And Aisi Eto looking to hit 30 points on the night, already well into the 20s.
Great vision by Curry. Found 21, rolling wide open in the low block. Easy bucket. 4-point lead for Calvary Christian. And in the bonus, Archbishop Carroll is going to shoot 1-1. Aisi Eto, the heart and soul of this pride of Lions, at the line, and it's just short. Something we were not expecting to see from here. Curry pushing the tempo, decides to bring it back up and reset the offense. See Jacob Warren directing some of the play calling.
Shot clock off in this third quarter. Again, just expect them to hold it for this final shot. Curry just spreading out the court, having as much room to work with.
Too hard as he goes for the drive. Witherspoon unable to put it up, but they're going to call a blocking foul on Sean Abevu, and that is going to send him to the line for 2. As we're going to look back at the replay, yeah, he just was leaning back a little too much when he made contact. You got to be straight up like a board.
And you got to have your feet set. His momentum had him going backwards, couldn't keep his feet set. Draws a block, sends Witherspoon to the line for 2 free throws. Late in this third quarter, you have only 8 minutes and 0.7 seconds remaining. You need to keep your lead if you're Calvary Christian.
And he hits both of them. And with that, we are going to go into the fourth quarter of this exciting matchup between Calvary Christian and Archbishop Carroll. 47-45 in favor of Calvary Christian. Another one of our sponsors that we got to thank for the MLK Classic is Visit Fairfax. Go to FXVA.com and get connected with the dedicated sports team to help you host your next event in Fairfax County. Once again, Visit Fairfax, one of our sponsors here at the 2022 The St. James MLK Classic. So, if you are either one of these coaches, what are you talking to your team about heading into the final frame?
If you're Calvary Christian or if you're either team, you got to start talking about free throws if it comes down to it. If you're up, you got to tell your team, stay calm, and that comes with the leaders of these teams as well, these seniors. And if you're looking at the rosters, it looks like Calvary Christian has more seniors, especially within the starting five, than does Archbishop Carroll. And that experience can really come into effect late in the game. If you are up by 1 or 2 points and you need someone to hit your free throws, I mean, based on what I've seen, Jalen Curry is a guy I would be very confident at the line. Sharon Fan, usually a guy, maybe not tonight, but usually a guy you're confident
And honestly,
with.
as the game's gone on, I think he's settled in, found more of a rhythm, so I would not be scared to put him on the line if I was Calvary Christian. For Archbishop Carroll, you have to have somebody stop number one, Sean Abevu, coming off the bench, and he has been the shot in the arm that Calvary Christian needed. Whenever they couldn't get a bucket, it seemed like he was making something happen.
And if you're Carroll, you need a win here today. You're coming in on a 4-game losing streak. You haven't had success in your schedule after this tournament is not anything easier.
No.
Paul the 6, DeMatha, who put up a really good fight against that John Marshall team that is to some considered the best team in the country. Good Counsel, Bishop McNamara, and Gonzaga. You are in a very, very tough WCAC, as we talked about early.
And games like this are important. Even if you don't win, but if you keep it close, it gives you the confidence to know you belong on the field with every team you play against. Because, again, we talked about the Calvary Christian schedule. It's one of the most brutal ones outside of the DMV.
Oh, yeah.
And we are back in. Calvary Christian starts with possession. Like the motion offense they've been using, just moving the ball around, and everybody stays in motion. Sean pulls up, going to be too hard. And it's just unable to be corralled by Jacob Warren. Carroll going to get the ball, and now we're seeing a full court press. Full court trap, matter of fact, being re-implemented by Calvary Christian. Witherspoon kicks it over, and it's going to go into the big man, Conga. He looked a little surprised, and it's going to be a turnover. 7:27 left here. 47 for Calvary Christian, 45 for Archbishop Carroll.
So his foot was on halfway on the line, halfway off the line there when he tried to throw it off to the foot of number 23, Jacob Warren. So they're going to call it out of bounds on him.
Sheriffant gets hit. You can't, anytime you're in the low post and the defender goes flying like that, you're going to get hit with the charge.
And Witherspoon, the sophomore 6'4" guard, stepping up and taking a big hit from the senior heading off to Memphis in Carl Sharonfan.
Witherspoon's bringing the ball up, driving, calls his own number, and he hits the bucket. And we are tied up here with less than 7 minutes left in the contest.
Beautiful spin move there from the sophomore. Again, only a sophomore, but confidence of a senior.
Curry tried to get it over. Conga definitely affected the shot, and it's going to be brought in by him.
Carroll's trying to play fast. They're trying to play at the speed that usually you'll see that the Eagles play at. Carroll finding you can show they can. I mean, you can see they have some swagger.
And it's going to be a travel on the drive for Aise Eton.
Just sometimes you try to do a little bit too much, and it leads to turnovers like that. As we take another look, nice pass down
Derek
low.
Edward inbounding to Jalen Curry. Not the same level of full court pressure coming from the Lions as the Eagles. Swinging the ball around the perimeter. Three gets, and that was Derek Edward. Got the screen, unable to convert it. And the floater by Aise Eton is coming up short. And you got to wonder how much gas he has left in the tank with everything he's been doing all game for the Lions.
And a guy who you expect to be on the court almost every single minute, averaging 21 points a game, for this team, along with 5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, almost 2 steals. So he's obviously on the court for a long time for Carroll in every game.
Witherspoon finds. Oof. He found
Beautiful play.
12 Landry Barbour, but you know what? Sean Abevu with the block, showing, again, we told you, he's got that inside-out game working for him. We've seen a lot of the outside, seeing some of the inside on the defensive end.
And it wasn't just a block. Abayev also got the pass off of, as he was going out of bounds, just chucks it off of a Carroll defender, gets the ball in the hands of Calvary Christian, all tied up.
And we're seeing Calvary Christian go with their supersized lineup, 3 big men on the floor, with Abevu looking to play the 3. Calls his own number, going to come off strong. Good try to save it by Lathan, and his effort is not for naught. They're going to say that all the contact was clean. Block for number 25, Kanga. Carroll shoots it, Witherspoon, and he buries a 3, and Carroll retakes the lead, 50-47, with just under 5 minutes left here in the contest. Abevu bringing the ball up, guarded by Gabriel Jones.
And you can tell which team has more fans in attendance as Witherspoon hits that shot. This place erupted with the fans that remain from this very long day here at the St. James.
You got to give it up. Carroll will have the home court advantage because it is a much shorter trip from D.C. than Florida to make it up here to Springfield. Good take on the finish. I believe that was 22. And there we see Aisi Eton trying to take some more control over the game, getting to the basket. Number 2 to number 22 on that last basket. Ethan Lathan, big man, you got to feed him sometimes, and they finally got it to him inside. We'll see if they can have some more success as they try to retake the lead. And these free throws are going to become crucial as we get later and later in the contest. You mentioned we saw it in an earlier game, how much free throws matter, especially going down the stretch.
They really do, especially in a game like this where it's been tight every single minute. You're up by 1 point. You got to hit those free throws. You go up by a 3-pointer, and this Calvary Christian team hasn't really tested their ability from deep. They've really taken it down your throat to the paint and tried to finish down there.
Great drive. Love the dribble penetration. Going up strong and getting his own rebound, Abevu. Hey, that size is coming in, and Ethan grabbing yet another offensive board, and I believe he's headed to the line shooting 2 with a chance to tie up the contest with just under 4 minutes left.
And Lathan's got to be closing in on a double-double, if not already reaching that mark with the rebounds and points, as he's been a rebound machine, and even with blocks, maybe even getting close to a triple-double.
I think he's got 4, might need 5 or 6 more, but he is starting to get into one of those rare stat lines. Definitely in the ballpark for a quadruple 5. And he hits both of those free throws, tying the game up with 3:50 left. Witherspoon bringing the ball up, calls his own number. And you got to question the wisdom in that shot that early. And it's going to be called a block, and I believe that's going to be 2 shots for Calvary.
Take another look, a bunch of pinballing there, and then Jalen Curry just comes away with it, almost finishes the basket. But we'll go to the line for 2, and he's a guy who's been pretty good.
And both teams are in the bonus. Going to be shooting the rest of the way. Carroll is actually in the double bonus, so they will be shooting 2. And again, free throws are going to be something to keep an eye on in this last 3:35. Lathan is really making his imprint on the game late. Oof.
Nice move.
Great way to clear your own space. Number 5, Carl Schafferent. Haven't said his name in a moment, but he's been doing all the little things. Another block for Lathan. He's become energized here in the 4th quarter, especially on the defensive end.
And the junior is just putting together a beautiful game standing listed at 7 feet tall. So 7-footer, and he's doing everything from rebounding to scoring to blocking the ball, as you saw there.
And not only is he a 7-footer, he's a fluid, athletic 7-footer.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the guys who are 7-footers, to quote Jalen Rose, they're playing because they can walk and chew gum at the same time. Not necessarily the most athletic, but, hey, when you're playing basketball, height helps.
And, I mean, Lathan is very athletic for his size.
Yeah,
he moves very fluidly for a guy who's 7 feet. I mean, over there trying to save a ball in bounds, he jumps, straddles, and puts the ball through his legs. Yeah, it didn't go to a teammate, but a 7-footer is not usually the guy you see doing that on the court.
And I believe we're going to see this latest block again. No, that is going to be the last take. We're going through a couple of the highlights here.
With time winding down, Calvary Christian up by 2. Who has been the player of the game in this one?
Honestly, with how close this contest is, I feel like the player of the game is going to be whoever asserts their will in the next 3 minutes and takes this home for their team.
Yeah, and also I feel like depends on who wins. I mean, you talk about Carroll winning, you gotta say it's gonna be.
It's probably Franklin Aisi Eto. He's been doing everything. Right now, I would have to say number 22, Ethan Lathan, just with how his defensive impact has been felt in the second half. But I've also got to give an honorable mention to Sean Abevu, because there were stretches where he was generating all the offense for the Eagles. And he's the one they called to bring up the ball this time around. Gives it to Derek Edward, number 3, guarded by number 2, Awisi Eton. Back to Abevu. And he is unable to contain his dribble, just lost his footing a little bit, and that's going to be a crucial turnover with 2:46 left.
Good defense there. Give credit where credit's due. Number 12, Landry Barbour, kept his body in front of him and just forced him to make his own mistake, and that's the turnover that Carroll needed.
Great coaching by Coach Powell and his staff on how to defend these bigger Calvary Christian opponents. Great rebound of Bevu using all of his length. He looks like he might be 6'10" at the minimum if Ethan is 7 foot. Oh, and Ethan with the offensive board, trying to keep it alive, and he does. Number 2, Curry, brings it in. They got an open shot, going to reset the offense, take some time off the clock, holding on to a 2-point lead.
I think you got to take that shot if you're Sharon fan.
I get it, and we've got a Carroll Lion taking a little bit of time to come up. Gabriel Jones looks a little shaken up by that hit.
They both are.
Yeah.
Center court, we got Jalen Curry shaken up.
Yeah, and he's going to head to the line to shoot too once he recollects himself. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a pair of substitutions coming soon.
Well, the referee giving him a minute. Hitting these free throws will be crucial. Makes it a 2-possession game if he hits both.
Too strong on the first one for Curry. And that knee is definitely affecting him after the fall.
This is both.
And we have a wedgie on the floor.
You don't see that every day. You don't see the ball getting caught in between the rim and the backboard. That's what happens. A lot of bodies come together. They all are swinging at it. But you just go back on that possession, too. You have Carl Sharonfan, your wing, who you know is a lethal shooter from beyond the arc, pass up a shot to take more time off the clock, and that results in 0 points on that possession.
I know. You got to convert when you get opportunities like that. Real quick, special thanks to MLK Classic sponsor, Cheesy Auto Stores, and their 29 dealerships in Virginia, Maryland, and D.C., known here as the DMV. It's easy at Cheesy. Thank y'all. and we're going to be right back with the final 2 minutes of this exciting contest between the Calvary Christian Eagles and the Archbishop Carroll Lions. Now, if this was football, I would be bragging a little bit right now because you know what? The DMV has kind of owned Florida in high school football, and I'm hoping for a repeat of that in basketball.
Well, we'll see. I mean, both teams have shown out tonight. Definitely think Archbishop Carroll came with an intensity and a chip on their shoulder that Calvary Christian was not ready for.
No, they were not. And now we see them implementing a bit of a half-court trap, it looks like, with the zone. And that's going to be a costly foul against the Eagles. I believe it's going to be a block called on Sherifant.
And Sherifant, I mean, the Eagles already in the double bonus. Or Carroll in the double bonus means that Aisi Eto is going to the line for 2 no matter what. And Sherifant going to take a seat late in the game. Surprise, surprise.
Well, we have not been keeping up with the foul, so I do not know. It is possible he fouled out. Or just giving him a little bit of a breather before, he goes pedal to the metal for the last minute 45. And here Carroll can tie up the contest. And it is all tied up with 1:45. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in winning time. Your best players are the ones you want to have the ball at all times in this situation. And we're going to see what happens.
With the shot clock at 35 seconds, there could be only 3 more possessions in this game potentially.
And you see the Eagles are well aware of that as they are trying to milk some time off before they start their offense. Pull up 3, too strong, but they get their own rebound, reset the clock. So now we could be looking at 2.5 possessions, really.
Jalen Curry, maybe some ice in his veins tonight. Again, they're waiting and waiting. A 35-second shot clock just allows a team to just dribble forever.
Yeah, trying to condense this. He gets a screen and loses a bit of control, and that's going to be a costly turnover.
And he's limping again as we take another look there. Just tried to force it. Everybody collapsed in the paint on him. Nothing was there. He tried to force the shot, and it resulted in a turnover. And now Carroll can really hold this until there's about 10, 15 seconds on the clock.
But they don't look content to do that, and it doesn't look like they'll have the opportunity. Oh, and that's a big 3. I was about to question Congo kicking it out with the open layup, looking like we might have had a Ben Simmons situation. But you know what? It was the right move, as that is a huge shot. And right here with 31 seconds left, there is no shot clock. The Eagles need a 3 to extend the game as we go into our what is likely the final timeout of this contest. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Josh Ilori here with Luca Dolesta, and it has been a pleasure to join you here from the St. James in Springfield, Virginia, here at the St. James MLK 23 Classic. What do you have to say about this?
I mean, that shot is a lot of faith in your junior. He hit a shot earlier from the wing. You just dished the ball out, and you have to believe in yourself if you're Landry Barber there. Just believe in yourself and believe in your own shot. But Calvary Christian does not need to force a 3 here. They have 3 timeouts still, so you can go for a 2, just get a bucket, and then foul, and hope they miss. Because, I mean, we've seen both teams have not been that consistent from the line.
Yes, we have, but you also know there's no way Carroll is inbounding it to anybody but number 2, Aisi Eton. And he is somebody who I feel like at this moment the senior is not going to get in his head. He's going to take care of business.
You never know. I mean, I don't think they need to force a 3 here. You have plenty of time. 30 seconds is enough to get
if you get a quick
shot.
2, if you get a quick 2, by all means take it. But if you start dancing around and taking 10, 15 seconds off, you may have to force up something.
You can't waste that much time. And I mean, walking up the court is not what you want to see.
Edward gets the ball, and they're going to kick it to Curry to reset it. 20 and counting left.
They're going to hold till last shot? Interesting. They're taking a long time to develop.
Sean calls the number, and he buries the three! And we have one more chance, or we're headed to overtime. Oh, and it is going to be, and we're headed to overtime. Ice water in his veins for the young sophomore, Sean Abevu, making his push late to be player of the game.
They had an opportunity. He had a shot. But, I mean, Abayev, what a shot there with off balance, fading away, turning, hits the shot.
You can see it. Even the referees are in shock by that buzzer beat. Well, not a buzzer beater, but the ice-cold tray ball by the sophomore. Way to show what you can do, young man.
I mean, Carroll, they had an opportunity. They had a good look from in the corner on the far side of the court. They just did not finish when they needed to. And with all the noise and everything, all the chaos that ensued on that last play, they carried that play on about 3-4 seconds after the clocks hit 0. No buzzer here. They use an air horn at midcourt, and it looks like it's dead. So we'll see 4 minutes on the clock to decide between these two teams. There's no better way you can ask to end this beautiful tournament here on this MLK weekend.
Absolutely. And also, it's free basketball. Who's going to complain?
Literally.
All right, and we get ready for overtime. We got a jump ball. It looks like it's going to be Emmanuel Kanga going up against Ethan Lathan. Calvary Christian corrals it here. 4 minutes left in this extra period. Sean Abevu going to start the offense. And it looks like Calvary is going to play ball control here. Satisfied to wait until as long as possible.
They're waiting till the last second. Wow.
And you know what? If you trust your young man to be a shot maker like he's been down the stretch, it makes sense. Play to your strengths.
Sophomore just both. Witherspoon for Carroll, Abayev for Calvary Christian, and they're just showing their confidence here tonight.
Ooh, and that's going to be a three buried by Gabriel Jones, giving Carroll a 1-point lead.
Already a minute and a half gone. So both teams just slowly playing this.
And we see that number 5, Carl Sherifant, is still on the bench. So I think the young man may have fouled out.
We have to assume he fouled out at this point. He would be on the court in overtime.
And we see maybe the future of this Calvary Christian team with Sean Abevu, number 1, really taking over the offensive playmaking responsibilities. Carroll with the ball to Aise Eton, calls his number, but it's off the back of the rim. Curry is bringing the ball up this time around for the Eagles. Picked up by Witherspoon. He gets a screen.
Got to be careful. Got called for a carry last time. You can't get called for a carry on this one. Down by 1, you have to score.
Just over 2 minutes left. Throwing it into the low post, and it's going to be stolen by Kanga, and he slows it down, gets it back to Aise Eton.
Now Carroll probably is going to slow it down as scuffle right in front of the broadcasting table.
Yeah, and they're going to say it came off of Edward. Lions maintain possession. Number 12, Landry Barbour, the inbound man. Gives it in to Gabriel Jones on the wing. Kicks it back up to Witherspoon. Gets a screen. They give it in to the big man who kicks it out, but it's intercepted Number 3, Derek Edward with the phenomenal heads-up play. Jalen Curry going to start the offense for Calvary Christian. Minute 30, 90 seconds left here in overtime.
Curry, a 4-star athlete. He's a guy you can trust with the ball in his hands.
And they give it back to him. Setting another screen. They got him driving. Calls his own number. It's going to come up short. 23. It's Jacob Warren. Gets the board, and then he's headed to the line.
Well, our scoreboard just went out, so we don't know what the time is. We don't.
Yeah, bear with us a moment as we deal with the technical difficulties.
At this point, they're probably not going to reconnect it. It says no signal on the scoreboard. That's what happens when you use technology like a TV as your scoreboard.
Hey, modern technology is great until it's not great.
And they are going to try to fix this because they don't know how much time is left.
So we're going to take a timeout on the floor. And once again, I would like to thank our sponsors. The MLK Classic is sponsored by NFP. Discover how NFP can provide you with innovative insurance and benefit coverage you are looking for at nfp.com.
So, unprecedented timeout there from both teams for everyone here in attendance. But they have to fix the scoreboard, and not sure what they'll do if they can't fix it.
I mean, that would be an extremely anticlimactic way to end what has been, what I can only imagine, a phenomenal weekend tournament here.
I mean, again, I've only been here for today. You've, I assume, only been here today as well. And we've experienced some crazy games, so you can only imagine what the other 3 days had in store, because they started Friday, they played Saturday, they played Sunday, and they played today. Teams showing up from across the country. They're trying to fix it now. Looks like they got the no signal. And they brought the scoreboard back up.
And we are back and cooking with gas. And for those of you tuned in interested in the NFC wildcard game, Dallas has a 6-0 lead over Tampa Bay currently early in the second quarter. Just a quick score update for you all. And we head back here. Jacob Warren going to be shooting the first of 2 free throws.
These are huge. You can go up 1 if you make both of them.
And important to note, Calvary Christian is in the bonus, so they're going to be shooting 1-1 for the next 69 seconds.
Missing the first one there is not what you want to see if you're Jacob Warren, senior, 6'11", forward for this Calvary Christian team.
And he's able to corral his own rebound, and you know they're going to milk time off the clock before they take a shot. That's what they've been doing. Abevu goes in, unable to convert.
Again.
Ball is saved, and they're going to reset the offense. Less than a minute left in these crucial possessions. 13 on the shot clock. And now we're counting down. They got to get something up, and it's going to be blocked.
They got to get a shot up.
And they've got a jump ball.
Possession arrows with Carroll.
That is huge. Huge stop for Carroll coming up in the clutch. Kanga again being the disruptive force in the low post.
Yeah, possession arrows with Carroll. They should have this ball, and it looks like they will have this ball.
And with a 1-point lead, you have to assume fouls are happening. And Carroll is in the double bonus, so they're going to be shooting 2 if you foul them. So really right now, with only 35 seconds left, 0.5 more than the game, the shot clock, they got a foul. And we've got a timeout here on the floor. Calvary Christian obviously going to talk over it. You're going to go for the steal first. If you can't get that, you got a foul, correct?
You have 35.5, so technically you don't have to foul. I think they will try to get a inbounds. First, they'll try to stop the inbounds and force a 5-second on the inbounds. Then, if not, they'll try to get a turnover some way quickly, a steal or a travel, or get something to turn the ball over before the clock runs too much. But if it runs too much, they foul, because 0.5 is not enough really to even get a shot.
And you're still at the spot where even if you foul, you can still hit a 3 to go to second overtime if they hit both of the foul shots. But again, you'd rather get the steal on the inbound, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. And this is again, we've been talking about it. This is when your best players make their presence felt. Emmanuel Kanga just completely phenomenal on the defensive end going down the stretch.
He really has been. Sophomore as well, so again, another player on this Carroll team that's going to be here for the time in the future. Showing a lot. I mean, he's big, he's tall, he's a defensive threat.
And he moves well, and he's a willing defender. He's not looking for glory. He's looking to do the dirty work and help his team get the win.
And he got a big block on the last possession from Calvary Christian, and he forces them to not get the shot that they want. The scoreboard went out for a second, back up. So the computers over there holding the scoreboard are on their last breaths.
Kanga gets the ball. He's bringing it up, and they're going to say he was fouled as he burns 5 seconds off the clock. Actually, they're going to say it's a timeout on the floor by Carroll. I understand. You don't want Kanga getting a little wild out there. While he does have some playmaking ability, sometimes he just gets a little too sped up. We've seen it happen a couple times.
But if you were Calvary Christian, it's not the worst idea to foul Kanga. He's a big man. Generally speaking, they're not as consistent from the line as, let's say, Aisi Eto. So you could have taken a risk there and fouled him and get the ball for the final shot. But timeout was called, I believe, by Carroll.
31 seconds on the shot clock, 31.3 left in the game.
We've been at a minute and a half for the last 5 minutes? Timeouts, stoppages in plays, fouls, whatever it is. That's what happens in these games. In basketball, it's a one-possession game, and the last 3 minutes turn into 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's why when growing up, my mom would always ask, is it a real 5 minutes or a sports 5 minutes?
Yeah.
All right, Landry Barbour, number 12, is going to be inbounding for Carroll.
The 7-footer trying to obstruct the inbounds.
Aisi Eton with the ball, no surprise here. And they're going to foul him, and he's going to shoot two.
Not the guy you want at the foul line, especially after what he just hit.
Yeah,
after the whistle, floater from beyond the arc as we take another look.
But Coach Powell was going to be like, hey, I want my best free throw shooters with the ball in their hands right now. There was no way he was going to be giving that one up that early in the shot clock.
Oh, yeah, he was going to try to dribble that out if he could.
And with that, it's a 2-point lead, 25.2 left. And this might be the most important shot of the tournament. And with ice water in his veins, frankly, Aisi Eton continues to make his case for game MVP.
You have to think, if Carroll wins, he has to be it. He's got to have 30 points by now.
Now, I know we went over this earlier when we were in this situation at the end of regulation. Do you go for the quick shot, or do you hold for the last shot in 3 and live to play another game?
I still think there's enough time on the clock where you can go for a 2, try to get down the court quick, get a 2, and stop the inbounds, because they only have one timeout. And we saw in an earlier game, Legacy, they struggled to get they couldn't get it inbounded until their 3rd try. They had to use 2 timeouts on that. So you can try to stop the inbounds. I don't think you're at the situation just yet where you have to force a 3-pointer. Of course, we don't know. They went really unorthodox on the last time in regulation, save for that final shot. Had faith in Abayev, and he hit a big 3.
And Abayev has shown us he is a cold-blooded shooter, okay?
Oh, yeah.
It gives me, and understand this is hyperbole still, but there's a little Slim Reaper in his game. A little bit of Slim Reaper. So we've got 21, John Rowland inbounding, going to be brought up by Sean Abevu. not a surprise here. 20 seconds and counting. He pulls up. That was not the shot you would have hoped for there. Very early in the shot clock. Looks like it is what happens sometimes. Sometimes you're feeling it in the flow of the game. But I have to think that the rest of the Calvary Christian coaching staff is kind of just like that. That's not what we were hoping for to come out of this play.
Maybe he saw something we didn't. He saw the opportunity to pull up, had faith in himself. Hey.
And with that, this becomes a very important shot because it becomes a two-possession game if Kanga can go 50% here.
And that's, I mean, if he misses, and this is what we were talking about, if he misses, and they have timeouts.
But it looks like they're just going to play it through. And a steal! And that might be the game right there. And without a doubt, Franklin Assisi Eton is our game MVP if the scoreline holds true. Mr. Do-It-All for the Carroll Lions. Johnny on the spot, showing up when it matters most.
And Calvary Christian had 3 timeouts. Why not take one right there? Rebound and just slow everything. They tried to force it, and it forced a turnover.
And with 4.8 seconds and a two-possession game, I think that it may be all she wrote. I know the fat lady's warming up her pipes, and two-possession game. Now they're going to start using those timeouts. And I can only imagine what Coach Powell and his staff are saying to the Lions. Play defense with your hands behind your back. Under no circumstance whatsoever should there be a foul called here.
Calvary Christian, I feel like they've dug themselves too deep of a hole, and it's just slightly too deep. It's to the point where, like, you can't crawl out, but you also can't dig yourself out. So you get the timeout here. They should have the inbounds on the attacking half of the court. You have to get a quick shot. If you get a quick 3, it's not out of question. But again, under 10 seconds to go, it's really, really close to out of question.
You've got to get a quick 3, foul immediately, and hope for some bad misses. It looks like Abevu is going to be the ball handler here. 8.4 seconds left here at the St. James MLK Classic.
So they have 8 seconds to get down the court and score, and they just throw it away. Not the best way for the sophomore to end. He started, and he gave them the big shot in regulation, but in overtime he's just fallen short.
But this is a great learning opportunity for the young man to be in a moment like this, to have his number called by the team. Hey, this is how you build a young man's confidence. Before Kobe was hitting buzzer beaters all the time, he airballed his first one. You got to take your lumps when you're coming up. I'm excited to see what's in his future. It's a tough break for Calvary Christian because they played well enough to win the game. It's just that Archbishop Carroll executed a little bit better.
And Ethan Lathan showing some frustration. Hard foul there, talking to the referee. I believe he just got a technical foul, so they just take him out the game.
Kanga misses his first one. 3.6 seconds left. And he hits enough, and I believe that's going to be all she wrote. 64-58 here with the final game from the St. James MLK Classic. And the Archbishop Carroll Lions with the upset victory over Calvary Christian Eagles.
Wow, big win there for Archbishop Carroll. Massive win, matter of fact. And Franklin Aisieto does get the MVP.
I mean, there is nobody else who it could be. It started with him. It ended with him. He is the one who hit the clutch free throws to put the game beyond a shadow of a doubt. And let me just say, this is going to be huge as Carroll gets ready for conference play in the brutal WCAC. And even after that, they take on the DCA